Good morning, everyone. Have a very good day. General Donovan and I are pleased to welcome all of you to Southern Command this morning. Without the strength of arms, without our armed forces, we cannot keep our country safe. Crossings at our southern border, at the border between the United States and Mexico, have dropped to the lowest number in history. Homicides across the country have dropped by more than 20%. Now we have operational control of our southern border. 0 people are crossing our southern border, and we will not rest until we have full operational control of every inch of all our borders. That's what we did in World War II, just like we sank ships with torpedoes in World War II. Last month, we went several weeks without targeting a single boat. Why? Well, because we couldn't find many boats to sink. And that's the whole point, to establish deterrence against the narco-terrorists, who manage to traffic almost without restrictions. And if the consequence was simply being arrested and then released, well, that's a consequence they had already considered for a long time. A new dynamic needed to be set in motion so that their decision-making cycle would change, working more closely together to achieve a common goal and doing it aggressively. All the nations represented in this room are descendants of Western civilization. Our nations are and always will be united by our heritage, our history, and our geography. In this new world, we share the same interests. And because of that, we face an essential test of whether our nations will be and remain Western nations with distinct characteristics, Christian nations under God. The leaders did not give the Southern Command the support it needed. It was a command filled with one of the most foolish phrases in military history, repeated by the Department of Defense in the previous administration. They always said our diversity is our strength. It's absurd. Our strength is our unity, our shared purpose, the training we do together, and the capabilities we have to accomplish things as one. In our context, the Constitution we swear to defend together, the uniform we wear together, that's our strength. To discover your country's remarkable history. They knew that President James Monroe was once an orphan. When adversaries carry out incursions in this hemisphere, on the coast of a state of the United States, in Alaska, or on the coast of Greenland, or in the Gulf of Mexico, or in the Caribbean, that represents a direct threat to the territory of the United States and to peace in this hemisphere. When adversaries control ports or infrastructure at choke points for United States trade, like the Panama Canal, or position military bases near our coast, that threatens American territory and peace in this hemisphere. When terrorists, murderers, and cartels take over infrastructure, resources, and cities, or entire towns near the borders and coasts of the United States, or profit from mass illegal migration, that is a threat to American territory and to all of you. They seek to replace the historic North-South relationship we have always shared with a kind of new global South, which excludes the United States and other Western nations, but includes non-Western powers and other adversaries. The answer to our challenge is not to ignore our geography in the name of global interests, but rather to embrace our shared geography in the name of national interests. That's why President Trump has drawn a new strategic map, stretching from Greenland to the Gulf of Mexico to the Panama Canal and its neighboring countries. At the Department of War, we call this strategic map Greater North America. Why? Because every nation and sovereign territory north of the equator, from Greenland to Ecuador and from Alaska to Guyana, is not part of the global South. It is our immediate security perimeter in this great neighborhood where we all live. Each of these countries borders the North Atlantic or the North Pacific. Each of these countries is north of the 2 basic geographic barriers that exist in this region, the Amazon and the Andes Mountains. This is basic geography that we don't teach in schools as much as we should. This is not a one-way street. Each regional partner must invest more in their own security. Just like you, we want a sovereign, secure, and prosperous hemisphere. Let's make the Americas great again. Thank you, and may God bless you. Applause. Strengthening our ties, respecting sovereignty, recognizing the strategic importance of this hemisphere, and aiming to expand bilateral and multilateral cooperation.
Our commitment to the goals of our mission only grows as our advantages continue to increase. We are not lacking ammunition. Our stockpiles of defensive and offensive weapons allow us to sustain this campaign for as long as necessary. Once again, our ammunition levels only increase as our advantage grows, as do our capabilities. We've only just begun to fight, and to fight decisively. We had the opportunity to hear Admiral Cooper. If you think you've seen something, just wait. The amount of combat power that is still coming, that is still on its way, that we will be able to project. Iran will have much more than double
What it currently has.
Currently, when you add our capabilities to those of the Israeli Defense Forces, our munitions are fully stocked and our determination is unwavering. The timeline is ours to control for as long as necessary for the United States of America to achieve these objectives by sending more forces and capabilities. And while our munitions have even more devastating effects, we set the pace and the timeline led by the commander on the ground. We are ready to hear from Admiral Cooper about whatever he needs. He will have Terry.
And representing the more than 50,000 men and women in uniform who are currently in action. Here are some examples. Just in the last 72 hours, the United States Bomber Force has hit nearly 200 targets inside Iran, including areas near Tehran. And just in the last hour, B-2 bombers from Zero Eye have dropped dozens of 2,000-pound bunker buster bombs targeting ballistic missile launchers buried deep underground. Notably, we also hit the Iranian equivalent of Space Command, which reduces their ability to threaten Americans. If I look just at the last 24 hours of the operation, compared to where we were at the beginning, ballistic missile attacks have decreased by 90%. Since day one, our attacks against the Iranian Navy have intensified. You may have heard the president say a little while ago that we sank or destroyed 24 ships. That was true at that moment. Now we've already passed 30 ships, and just in the last few hours we hit an Iranian drone carrier.
In the end, I think the president has a lot of influence over who governs Iran. Considering the ongoing operation, that we've maintained our objectives, we know what we're trying to achieve. It's safe to say that there is no plan for a wave of new refugees from the Middle East to the United States. As the president highlighted, there are many countries in this region that would be able to provide this kind of support, if necessary. We are not planning for that.